Hi. So as we sit here filled in this auditorium, filled with some of the most brilliant and brightest students in Farmington Hills, no doubt that each one of you will know exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life, maybe by the time you're 16. You are likely in the 91% of students who were surveyed by Junior Achievement who said that you had a dream job mapped out. You've picked out colleges, mom and dad are saving tuition money, and you are working diligently at school every day to put yourself closer and closer to those goals, turning in all your assignments on time, never tardy, all that good stuff. And after all, why wouldn't you? Because when you're young and your whole life is ahead of you, is one of the best parts of being a kid to plan out your future. And I can tell you that as a parent, nothing would make your parents happier than if you got into that great college and you were in and out in 4 years. You definitely never will change your major. You left college with minimal debt, and then you would be ready to embark on the next 40 years of doing the same thing every day without avail, right? Except that 40 years of doing the exact same thing every day is a really long time. And I know if you look around and ask any of the adults in this audience, they will tell you this is 100% true, especially the teachers. So in 2007, a woman by the name of Nola Ox made history by graduating with her degree in general studies from Kansas State University. But people do that all the time, so what was so remarkable about Nola Ox? Nola was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records for being the oldest recipient of an undergraduate degree at the age of 95 years old. She was 95 when she got her bachelor's degree. And she didn't even stop there, because at 98, she went on to get her master's degree at history. And at 100 years old, she was working as a teaching assistant at Fort Hays State University. But she had spent her whole life taking care of her kids, being a mom, working on her family farm, and that was her moment that she got to pursue her dream of being a storyteller on a cruise ship, which she got to do. She served as a guest lecturer on a Caribbean 9-day cruise. So I know when kids hear this, they think, I'm not going to be in school at 95. I'm not going to be in school at 45. I want to be in and out. I want to be done. I want to save up. I have a plan to have a big house and a fast car, and I'm going to travel, and I'm going to see the world, and maybe settle down and have kids and get married. And those are wonderful goals, and they want to be done as soon as possible. But unfortunately, done is kind of a relative term, because of those 90% of people that were surveyed, only 45% of them will graduate in 4 years. But why? They had a plan. They worked really hard. They went to a good school. They studied hard. So what happens that stops them? Well, life happens. So I know a lot of you will know that when you go away to school, it's very expensive, and sometimes students will run out of money. Other times, something happens in the course of those 4 years that changes the direction of your life in a way that maybe you didn't see. Sometimes you start studying that thing that you were so passionate about, and you realize that maybe it's not exactly what you thought it would be. Sometimes who you are as a person when you started on that journey is not the same person as when you ended at 22 or 25. So Nola's story was very inspirational to me because when I was 18, I had a plan, and my plan was that I was going to be a Hispanic studies major. I worked really hard at it, and I was going to study abroad and have a long, happy career in secondary education. But just like the 45% of students who didn't finish their degree in 4 years, life happened to me. So instead of going to school and finishing, I decided to get married and have 4 beautiful kids and bought a house and a job, and life was very good. But something was kind of missing. I was missing a passion for every day. So I decided to test the waters by taking one college class and then another, just to see if I was too old to learn something new. And it was the scariest and hardest thing I've ever done, aside from maybe standing up here doing a TED Talk. But as I got into those classes and I started studying the thing that I loved, I realized a passion that I didn't know was there, and I didn't even care that I was one of the more older, non-traditional students in the classroom. I couldn't wait to come home and share everything I learned with everybody around me, which I'm sure was pretty annoying. And then in the year of 2020, which was the year of COVID, but also the year of the nurse, I was accepted into the nursing program that I had applied to. And so that meant 2 things. One, that I would have to leave a job that I really did like, that I was very comfortable with at Wood Creek as an office clerk. And I would have to leave behind a lot of the friends that I made. But I wanted to take a chance on a future that would give me something more than just having a house and a car, but something, a passion and a pursuit of a career that would be caring for people in need. What Maslow would call self-actualization. So, but the most surprising thing to me was that I was not alone, because when I enter my classes, they are filled with people with a story similar to mine. It turns out that the average age of a nursing school student is somewhere in their late 30s, and they have a very similar story. So in their past lives, they were vets and massage therapists and social workers and even a police officer from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, and the list goes on. And this isn't even an isolated occurrence, because according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, only 14% of people who have a job say that they love, that they would never walk away from. The average person is going to change careers 5 to 7 times in their lifetime. So this makes sense, though, because you are stuck in a job that you don't love, and maybe your job doesn't give you the salary that you need to pursue all of your goals. Maybe being a professional YouTuber that sounded great when you were 16 just didn't pan out the way you thought it would. Maybe who you are and what you want out of life is what's changed. So how do we avoid this pitfall? How do we not become stuck in a job that we don't love? We never give up on the idea of learning. We have to 100% commit to being lifelong learners. We have to take a hold of every idea that inspires us, and we have to follow it to see where it goes. So you may start off watching YouTube videos on how to make the perfect cupcake, and then all of a sudden you've decided, I might have a side business with a bakery like Ms. Edwards did. Maybe you take your kids to piano and swim every day, and you always wanted to play the piano. Not all learning is going to come from a university. It starts with an idea, and it grows. You are never too old to learn something new. I'm going to repeat that. You are never too old to learn something new. To our kids, you are going to find that your life is going to become increasingly filled with things that you have to do every day. You should also be filling it with things that you love to do. And you may not know what those things are yet. So, my challenge to you today, when you leave here, when you go home, is for you to go home and make a list and just write down 10 things that you always wanted to know more about, a language, a skill, anything. And as you try out these things, feel free to scratch them off. Maybe you have a friend at Farmington STEAM Academy who says, it'd be really great if you gave a TED Talk, and you think, I always wanted to learn more about public speaking. And then you realize as you're standing on stage and your head's getting light and your stomach feels sick, this is not for me. You can scratch that off, that you totally have permission to change it. But keep adding to it. And keep adding to it until you find the things that you really love. We don't have to commit to careers when we're 17 and 18. The only thing that we really need to commit to is to leading a life that is happy and fulfilling and true to ourselves. And we can reinvent ourselves as often as we need, just like Nola Ox, by dedicating ourselves to being lifelong learners. Thank you.